On the evening of the 2nd of March 2002, two boxers stepped into the ring of the Big Top Arena at Carnival City, Johannesburg to fight it out for the WBU Junior Flyweight title. In the one corner of the ring stood the 29-year-old Colombian Juan Herrera. In the other corner stood a 39-year-old South African who was ready to fight his last fight in a career spanning more than 2 decades. His name was Baby Jake Matala. How's it? I'm Dr. Jacob Seidnert, and as always, this is Stashy, and you're watching The Historian Stash. Now, most of us know Baby Jake Matala as the legendary fighter who is still regarded as the shortest world boxing champion ever. Around the same time when Baby Jake was at the pinnacle of his career, I was still a lightie playing squash for my school. My teammates nicknamed me Baby Jake, and to this day I have no idea why. Anyways, apart from the nickname which I shared with him, I was fascinated with this fellow shorty, and I started following him, cheering him with every bout. But Baby Jake's story began decades before I was even born. Jacob Matala was born in 1962 in Meadowlands, Soweto. He was the only child of a driver and cook. At the tender age of 10, he started going to the gymnasium with his father. He was so passionate about boxing that he decided to turn professional in 1979. But old Jacob had two obvious shortcomings.
Did you get it? Did you get it?
Firstly, he apparently lacked a real punch. And secondly, he was only 4'10" or 1.47 meters tall. To put this into perspective, this is the legally recognized height of a dwarf.
Oh, so it's a little people thing then?
No!
You think just because I'm small, you can just push me around? Well, come on, my friend, let's boogie.
But the little fighter was determined to work his way up to the light flyweight rankings under the tutelage of the late Theo Mtambu. His professional boxing career began on the 2nd of February 1980 with a 4th round victory over Fraser Plaiki in Port Elizabeth. 6 fights later, including 4 wins and a draw, he became Transvaal Junior Flyweight Champion with a 5th round technical knockout or TKO win over Simon Muema. It took him 3 more contests to become the so-called non-white South African Junior Flyweight Champion. As national champ, he toured South Africa's small halls, fighting in places like the Diepkloof Community Hall, Uncle Tom's Hall, yes, that place really existed, the Kwaterma Civic Centre, the Vaal Showgrounds, as well as New Brighton and Mdantsane in the Eastern Cape. He soon became one of the most active fighters in the country, with a whopping 19 fights in 3 years. This alone did not earn him much cash, but he did gain vital experience that would serve him well later in his career.
We're going to be right, we're going to be all right.
He successfully defended his title twice, before suffering a 12th round loss to Umveleli Luzipo in October 1983. But after that, Baby Jake claimed 8 wins in succession, including his first victory against an overseas opponent. Then, in the mid-1980s, Baby Jake fought an epic series of fights against Eastern Cape boxer Vuyani Wonderboy Nene. They fought each other 4 times. Nene won all 4 times. Jake was dethroned of his title and was on the verge of wandering the boxing wilderness as a journeyman. But then promoter Mike Seagal saw the little man as a potential commercial goldmine and signed him up.
The franchise rights alone will make us rich beyond our wildest dreams.
Out of the blue, Jacob got his chance to contest for his first world title, going up against Dave McCauley for the International Boxing Federation, or IBF, flyweight title in Belfast, Northern Ireland on the 7th of September 1991. But Jake squandered it and was knocked out in the 10th round. Seagal was desperate to get his battered fighter's confidence up, so he organized 3 fights for Jacob, including a successful defense of his South African title. Seagal then secured him a title shot for the World Boxing Organization, or WBO, flyweight title against the champ Pat Clinton, who was almost 20 centimeters taller than Baby Jake. The fight was scheduled for the 15th of May 1993, and Baby Jake had to travel to the champion's backyard in Glasgow, Scotland. But he took it in his stride, and in what has been described as one of the most outstanding performances of his career, Baby Jake dominated the Scotsman for 8 rounds before knocking him out. This was the beginning of a remarkable run for Jacob. At the same time, he was developing an appealing public image with his small stature, good humor, and joviality.
I said to him, there are only 2 people in this country who are popular. I mean, you know, they asked me why. I said, no, I mean, Mr. Matala is first one because of his height, and Baby Jake, number 2, because of his height also.
In a post-apartheid South Africa, he was at the forefront of campaigning against AIDS and promoting safe sex, which had endeared him to virtually all South Africans. He even befriended Nelson Mandela, a former boxer himself. Madiba would later joke that he never enjoyed being in Baby Jake's company because the little fighter always gets the bigger cheer from crowds. Baby Jake was at his best in the 1990s, about the same time I got to know of him. During this period, he fought 23 fights, 20 wins, only 2 defeats, and a single draw. He became a role model to many, attributing his success to no smoking, no drinking, and no taking drugs.
Just say no.
You could underestimate him outside the ring, based on his size and his pleasant demeanor. But once he stepped into the ring, his attitude changed, and he became a relentless and determined puncher who you underestimated at your own peril. After the Clinton fight, Baby Jake added another 4 wins to his record, including 3 title defenses, but lost his title to Mexican Alberto Jimenez in February 1995. Then 3 fights later, on the 18th of November 1995, Baby Jake defeated WBO world champion Paul Weir on a technical decision in 5 rounds, once again in Glasgow, to retake the WBO junior flyweight title.
You're lucky, wee man!
On the 13th of April 1996, the rematch between Baby Jake and Weir took place in Liverpool, England, but my guy stopped Weir in the 10th round to retain his WBO crown.
My man.
During this time, Jake parted ways with Seagal as promoter and decided to join renowned Golden Gloves promoter Rodney Berman. This turned out to be a great business move, as Cedric Kushner, Berman's partner, soon arranged a super fight against legendary 5-time world champion Michael Little Hands of Stone Carbajal in Las Vegas in 1997. But the fight almost didn't happen when it was alleged that Jacob had raped a gospel singer at his home. Berman knew that such a charge would blow the dream fight out of the water. So, bizarrely, rather than engage in court proceedings, both parties reached a 250,000 rand settlement paid by Matlala to his accuser. This of course meant the fight could go ahead. I guess the show had to go on at all costs. Eventually, Baby Jake challenged Carbajal for the International Boxing Association, or IBA, junior flyweight title. The odds were heavily stacked against Baby Jake, with virtually every pundit predicting that it would be the toughest fight of Baby Jake's career, against a Mexican-American fighter who was regarded by many as the best pound-for-pound boxer in the world.
What's your prediction for the fight then?
Prediction?
Yes, prediction.
Pain.
fighting in Las Vegas on the 18th of July 1997 before a large American television audience, Baby Jake delivered arguably the best performance of his career. He pummeled Carvajal for 9 rounds before the referee stopped the fight. That victory earned Baby Jake a second world title. After further 4 wins, including 2 title defenses, Jacob relinquished his IBA title to face another South African, East London boykie Masipulele Hawk Makepula in February 2000 for the vacant WBO junior flyweight title. It was a bout that South African boxing fans had been calling for. It was the old guard versus the new. The styles combined to make for an unforgettable encounter. Baby Jake knew only one way to fight, and that was to swarm over his opponent with his relentless punching, constantly maintaining pressure. Makepula, on the other hand, was slick in his punches and had the edge in speed. The Hawk literally came out swinging, using his hand speed, hooks to the body, and fast feet to keep Baby Jake from gaining full momentum. But then Baby Jake came back into the fight in the later round, persistently battering the Hawk. At the end of the fight, it seemed as if Baby Jake had done enough to win the contest, but when it came to the judge's decision, he lost. In February 2001, Jacob once more tasted World Championship success, easily defeating Australia's Todd Makerlin in 4 rounds to claim the vacant World Boxing Union or WBU junior flyweight crown. But Baby Jake was losing his edge, and he knew that at some point he would have to call time on his career.
I don't want this! I don't want this!
This finally happened in March 2002 with one last fight against Juan Herrera for the WBU junior flyweight title. Baby Jake was appropriately carried out to the ring on a throne as the estimated 5,000 people in the Big Top Arena of Carnival City applauded him. Among those in attendance was none other than Madiba, coming to watch his friend's last fight. Alongside Madiba was Will Smith, no doubt keen to learn a thing or two on how to punch properly.
You fight? You can fight. Oh, you can't fight.
But evidently, he did not learn much from boxing.
Much later.
Oh, wow!
Anyways, Herrera was 11 years younger and taller than Baby Jake, but my guy was eager to end his career on a high. Jacob stamped his authority on the fight as early as the 4th round, when he put Herrera down for the first time. The Colombian got up, but it was already obvious that this was the Baby Jake Matala show. Herrera turned into a punching bag with Baby Jake swaying and landing blows at will. Shouts of "Mike, give it to him" came from the crowd as Baby Jake shuffled seamlessly, making Herrera miss badly. Jake connected with a flurry, knocking Herrera's head back, but the visitor absorbed the punishment Baby Jake was dishing out. However, he failed to counter the veteran fighter's unyielding attack. A series of punches to the head sent a defenseless Herrera tumbling to the canvas once more. Again, he stood up trying to hold his own, but following some vicious combinations from Baby Jake, the ref mercifully stopped the fight in the 7th round. Almost immediately afterwards, Baby Jake made his way to Madiba and presented him with the belt that he had won. He reportedly told the former president, "This is for you, our greatest world champion." Quite appropriately, the curtain came down on Baby Jake's 22-year career with a win. He became the only South African to win 4 world titles, a record he still holds. His overall record stood at an incredible 52 victories, 2 draws, and 12 losses. Baby Jake's transition to a post-boxing life should have been smooth and prosperous. Indeed, he had obtained a BCom degree specifically for such an eventuality. But as is sadly often the case for boxers who hang up their gloves, Baby Jake found out that the fight outside of the ring is far more relentless than inside the ring. First, he dabbled in the fast food business, opening up the ill-fated Baby Jake's Diner. He also went into partnership with promoter Branko Milinkovic, but this did not end well either. He then attempted to enter into an ambitious collaboration with his wife, Mapula, a gospel singer. The idea was to market a DVD of Matlala's fights along with a CD of her music, but unfortunately this also never took off. Over time, Baby Jake became increasingly ill, later diagnosed with pneumonia in 2010. His frequent hospital visits took its toll on him financially, and before long he was forced to file for bankruptcy. Desperately, Baby Jake reportedly tried to claim the settlement money for the alleged rape in 1997 back from Berman, but Berman promptly refused. However, in 2011, Golden Gloves hosted a benefit box and dine event at Emperor's Palace to raise funds for the cash-strapped and gravely ill Baby Jake. The man was so desperate, he even put up one of his championship belts up for auction. Then, on the 7th of December 2013, only 2 days after the death of his beloved friend Madiba, Jacob, Baby Jake Matala, died due to complications of the lung. He was only 51 years old. In his lifetime, Baby Jake almost constantly faced the odds. Due to his small stature and lack of punch, he was always on the back foot. And in a merciless profession like boxing, it was expected that a guy like Baby Jake would fail. But through determination and hard work, he was able to overcome these impossible obstacles to become a giant of the ring. His tragic demise after retirement should remind us that our heroes are also fallible and fragile. They need us more than we need them, but we still need them. We need them to inspire us and show us that we can overcome the odds as well. This is why Baby Jake was such a legend to me as a kid, and that's why I still proudly adopt his nickname.
First time naipona, she was super fly like a baller, and I was super high like a dollar. Let's meet and talk, she's sweet and short like Baby Jake. It's with a fork and the juicy lips, appetizing like baby hake. They say she from Senten, she calls me Le Benten. Yellow bone with a mellow tone. After party I took her home. She tunes me, she's all alone. I tell her like on her knees like I'm a king. Keep me awake, Morocco king. All night till I pass out. Knock me out on that fourth round. She wanted hard Motlala. I chabi one kata. I eat mama